We have a subscriber request today. Let's get started. Okay, gang, welcome to the hideout today. And before we get started, a must do, click subscribe, man, so you'll come back and visit me. Click the little notifications so you get your ringy dingy. Check us out at sgt1911.com. We're having a big time and you need to be part of it. All right, let's go. I have a subscriber. You guys think I don't read all these, but most of you know that do make comments. I respond to every one of them eventually. Sometimes it takes me a couple days. David asked me to kind of compare two pistols that come out of the SIG Works or some SIG Custom Works or Custom Shop. They call it something else, SIG Custom Works or something. But to actually do a comparison between two pistols, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the SIG P220 Equinox, and we're going to talk about the SIG 1911 Nightmare. And they're different, but there's some similarities enough that I'm going to kind of point out a thing. So let's look at the Nightmare. We just did a video on this recently. It's a 4.2 inch barrel, 45 caliber, 1911. If you'll notice, it's black G10 grips, stainless steel looking controls on it. Nice looking little pistol. Look at the hammer. Here, nice gun, 45 ACP rounded pistol butt, 1911, fine and dandy, like it. It is black. What else am I going to tell you about? They call it the Nightmare. Now, we're going to look at the Equinox. Now, I did a review on the Equinox back several weeks ago, but this will come out of the same SIG Works lab, whatever you want to call it, and look at this. This is the Equinox. This is the P220 in 45 ACP as the 1911. All right, look at the slides on them. The slides, I'm gonna point them at you, are almost the same across the top. They're not round, they're not square, they're not beveled, they're a little rounded shape, but if you'll look, they're almost the same shape. I mean, look at them. Now, there is some differences here where you've got some serrations on the front and the back here. But if you look at the color of these things, look at the color. They're black with those contrasting stainless things. Now, the 220, also 45 ACP, has a rail. The 1911 does not have a rail. They both have, this has a safety, this has a decocker. Now, the magazines almost interchange, but they don't interchange. This one right here happens to be both a single action, double action, just simply single action. Both pistol grips kind of rounded on the bottom here, where your noggin mark area is there. So beaver tails, no grip safety, grip safety. So there are some very good similarities. There's some differences. I think there's enough similarities to probably imagine that both of these things, handguns, come out of the same shop. We know they did, and I'm going to almost say that the same employees were working there at the same time. Why? There's not that much differences in the pistols. So, we got the Nightmare. What's a nightmare? It's a bad dream. And then we got the Equinox. Now, Equinox has a couple of different meanings. It can be like the seasons passes, when the sun passes over the equator or something's an equinox, but it also has a spiritual meaning. It kind of means like good and bad. I'm going to think whoever designed this was thinking about the good and bad, because it also come up with a nightmare. So did the same person have some fingers in the same pot? Probably so. I think you had the same team working on these things, so you got a mix between good and bad and then a nightmare. So just for David, who wanted to do a little comparison, we got them side by side so you can look at them. The front sight's relatively the same. The rear sights are a little bit different. I'm gonna go ahead and turn them back around this way. Pretty similar handguns. you almost think they for sure came out of the shop. They both got external extractors on the side. They both got contrasting controls. They weigh about the same. They're both got metal or metal alloy frames. They're neither polymer. They're both 45 ACP. They just are very, very similar handguns, but you know, kind of like my pistols that I built, the custom pistols, they're definitely different. This is not a 1911. It's obvious, it's not a 1911. Here you got a slide release. It has a decocker on it. 1911s do not have a decocker on it. This is probably what I'm going to say is one of SIG's better designs. The 1911, I'm not even going to call a SIG design, but I'm going to say like the 220 here is going to be like a better design because we do have a metal or an alloy frame and slide. But again, David, I'm just doing this for you, fella. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the questions and giving me the opportunity to talk at them. If you'll just look at them, they're somewhat themed the same. 45 ACP, 4.2 inch barrel, 4.4 inch barrel, single action, double action, single action. Triggers are a little bit different. Pistol grips, you could say relatively the same design overall. Are they the same and yet different? Yes, they are. Anyway, David, I appreciate you asking the question. I hope I've been able to give you some answers. If you really want any other specific question, please ask, and I'll try my best to respond the best I can. Other than that, just a brief comparison between the two. Let's see them side by side. I'm going to show them to you this way one more time. Decocker, safety, skeletonized hammer, not skeletonized hammer, single action, double action, single action. Pistol grips roughly the same. Trigger guards are different. Has a rail, has no rail. Both of them are fine pistols. The SIG Custom Works did a good job. They always do. I'm happy with SIGs, always am. So, David, I hope I answered your question. If anybody else has a question, chime in, make a good comment. Until we get to shoot together, shoot safe and shoot straight. Hoo!